One of my Facebook friends tagged me in this a couple of days ago. I love how women are becoming more assertive in their standards and what they will and will not accept in their relationships. And I believe it has to do with many of these conversations that we're having on social media. This was posted in the 2X chromosome subreddit. It's titled, It's Beneath Him. She said, broke up with my boyfriend of 2 years. He wanted me to take on a trad wife and work full time once we got married. I wanted to split the domestic chores equally between us, but he found women's work to be emasculating. It was okay for me to clean up after him and cook all his meals, but asking him to do the same for me was beneath him. Why would he expect me to send him to work with a packed lunch 5 days a week when he would never dream of doing the same for me? Why does he consider his job to be more taxing, thus exempting him from chores when we both work office jobs, work the same number of hours, but I also work in a higher pressure environment and earn more than him? Why did he feel like at the end of the day he could enjoy his well deserved rest while expecting I would immediately go into the kitchen and prepare him a hot meal and tidy up the house? To him, our responsibilities were equally divided. I would earn an income and do all the household chores. He would earn an income and be in charge and lead the family. How could anyone think that this is fair? They think that it's fair because the patriarchy, the lie of the patriarchy, the Delulu land that they lived in, told them that they get to have a woman in the house that is basically a servant. And they have internalized it, and they're still parroting those same things. But that was obviously at a time where women didn't have the opportunity to work, and women needed to live with them for survival's sake. And these men, even these current ones, the younger ones, haven't gotten the newest updates that women do work. And women across the board are saying, y'all have got to, you guys have to participate in the household chores and child rearing. These men are not getting these memos. They're not getting these program updates, and it is causing them to lose out on their relationship. Okay, so this person is commenting on this part about being a trad wife and working full time. She's like, wait, he wanted you to do both. He wanted you to have a full time job and also provide him with trad wife benefits. Damn, I would have laughed that boy out of the room. Good for you for leaving. And she responds with, to be fair, he did concede and say I didn't have to work. But he also said that I would need to accept the lower quality of life or standard of living as a result. He knew I wouldn't agree to that. He wouldn't even be able to afford health insurance or a vehicle for me if I didn't work. We wouldn't be able to afford to move out of our tiny old apartment or take vacations or my gym membership or regular meals out. So these people literally are living in Delulu land. To think that a woman who is already making more money is going to accept these stipulations simply to be a servant in his home. They are wilding out. Just my opinion says, then he needs to realize he can't afford a trad wife, and he needs to realize he is going to have to do his fair share of chores. These men need to understand this. Women across the board are saying these things, that you're not getting a servant, you're going to participate. Nothing Gold says, exactly. Instead of just acknowledging they can't afford the trad lifestyle, they insist that the trad lifestyle includes a scenario where men only need to provide a bare minimum income and the women need to work full time and be solely responsible for the home and children 24/7. Delusional. Why would anyone agree to that scenario? Why would they expect women to agree to this? For the privilege of serving them, working to death, and sharing in the bare minimum income? Yeah, no. Vice Maiden says no health insurance, so it wasn't even a viable option not to work. And Anna Banana Berry says absolutely not. If he doesn't make enough to provide for every need for himself, you, and your potential family, including separate checking, savings, and retirement accounts that he will put money into every single paycheck in order to pay you for your services and make up for the fact that you aren't paying into Social Security, he needs to be pulling his weight 50-50. Don't give him credit. He doesn't deserve it. And then Brute is a man. He says, damn, separate checking, savings, and retirement? Don't tell me, wife. We've had joint accounts since we got married. We spend money reasonably and don't make big purchases without discussing them first. She hasn't worked for most of our marriage. Then Anna says that's putting her in an incredibly precarious position in the long run because she has not been paying into Social Security and therefore will not be able to benefit from it when she reaches retirement age. Also, if you aren't discussing appropriate compensation for the unpaid labor she is doing for your household and giving her a paycheck every time you get paid, you are probably grossly undercompensating her for her labor. So, and of course, he's going to push back against that because men don't understand all of the financial sacrifices that women make and the position that puts the women in. Leslie says it doesn't sound as though lead the family is something he's suited to do. And then Petit Cochon says, I would love to know what he thinks leading the family is. A good leader aims to serve the people they lead, not stamp their foot around expecting everyone to kowtow to their every whim. And I think that, no, not. These men are either trying to be a demigod or a demi oppressor. They really think that they deserve a servant simply because they're born with a peen. That's the reason why they live in Delulu land, because they were born with a peen. Anyways, let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Now, here's a woman doing an Am I the A-hole post, and I've always said when women are doing these Am I the A-hole posts, they are simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions. She says, Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my husband after what he has done? All right, girl, what he do? She says, this story happened a few months ago, but I'm emotionally sensitive. So I'm still very sad and shocked. My husband and I have been married for over 2 years. My husband runs a business, so for the past few years, I have been staying at home taking care of our child. A few months ago, we discussed buying a house. I overheard him talking on the phone with his father about putting the house under his father's name. I didn't say anything about it because I thought it was his own money and he wanted to make his parents happy, so I reassured myself in that way. But I was truly devastated when I found out that he listened to his friend's advice to put the house under his parents' name and then transfer it to his name separately so that the property wouldn't be legally connected to me during our marriage. I was surprised how he could go along with that idea when we had been living together, raising children, and never had any conflicts. I couldn't keep my calm and caused a scene, and the house buying plan was postponed. After that, I cried a lot. And he apologized and took me shopping for things to make up for it. But until now, whenever I think about it, I get indescribably sad. I can't forget it, and I can't forgive him. What should I do, everyone? This is sad, but at least now this woman knows that she can't trust her husband. She has to game plan because her financial future is on the line. She should already know that she is going to be sacrificed at the end. She will have no financial support, no safety net because of how he's acting right now. She's only 2 years into this marriage, and she said children, so they have at least multiple children. And if she gets stuck holding the bag and she's been out of work taking care of their kids, she is going to be screwed. So she totally needs to go back to work. She needs to start creating a plan right now, right now. And she needs to stop being sad. She needs to stop being sad and just get into action. She is not safe in this relationship, and her future is going to rely on her just getting into action right now. And so will the future of her children, because many times the children are impacted as well. New Razzmatazz says, not the a-hole, this is a big betrayal. His attempt to deceive you and leaving you and the kids financially exposed in this marriage isn't to be swept under the carpet. First is a serious conversation with your husband. Stop and tell him how he has made you feel and ask why he listened to his friend rather than discussing any concerns he had with you. At this point, you also don't know if he will do this again when you've calmed down or what other financial decisions he has made behind your back. So you need to be clear before you make any decisions. Second, I would also consult a lawyer, if only to discuss my options and to ensure my future security. Finally, I would also go back to work. You need your own money and independence if you stay married to a man willing to screw you over at a time when you're in a happy divorce. Imagine what he tried to do, in a happy marriage. Imagine what he'd do in a divorce. Creative Music said this. Also, do some investigating and find out whose name the business is in. My guess is if his husband was looking for his father to put the potential home in his name, The business may be as well. Yep, with the husband only an employee. This man sounds devious. This man is not to be trusted, and everything in this woman's life needs to be changed right now. Folks be thinking I'm wilding when I said women need to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, elemental P. They really, women really do. We need to stop playing. We need to stop acting surprised that these MFers can betray folks like this. Major employee says, I know some D-bag who owned a few businesses with his father, and they tried to play the tax game by putting them under the son's wife's name. Son, being the complete moron that he is, gets caught banging someone else, and the family was basically screwed since the now ex was listed as the owner of several of their businesses. Yeah, it's like, why can't people just be honest? Why can't they just have some integrity? And then the next person says poetic justice. It really is poetic justice, but it's too bad that folks just can't act right, have some integrity, not be liars, not play all of these games. And then I'm going to end it with this. Yes, please, OP, go back to work. Geek Off the Street says, please go back to work. I've been a stay-at-home mom forever, only recently going back to a little part-time work. However, I did that knowing that my husband fully supported and valued my role as the full-time caregiver for our children. Our house is in both of our names. We have one joint account that is ours. Retirement is shared equally. I'm totally covered if something were to happen. All of our assets would be split 50-50. No one should give up working unless their future is protected. Your husband isn't protecting you, only himself. Is that the action of a loving spouse and father? I would never be able to get over that. This isn't you being emotionally sensitive. And why do I have the feeling your husband tells you that to make you doubt your feelings? Please get back to work and then get into marital counseling. I'm going to leave it at that. I think that this is enough. This is just another cautionary tale to cover your butts. That's it. That's all. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. When men tell stories, you can definitely tell that they're leaving things out. Listen to this story from this man. He says, my son despises me. For the longest time that I can remember, I raised my son on tough love. I only have one child, so I wanted to make sure he knew how to take care of himself in the chance that me or his mother were not around anymore. It was the only parenting style that people I had grown up with knew because of the struggles people my age faced as kids. Parents were both busy or working that they didn't have time to spend all their time with their kids or to be heavily involved. I took that as my experience as to how to raise kids. Me and my wife raised our son to be ready to be an adult from a young age because we were afraid he would make the same mistakes we did or become gullible and impressionable. I didn't hear anything about loving or supporting. I just heard, okay, y'all tell me what y'all heard because this whole tough love situation doesn't sound like actual love. It sounds like authoritarian lifestyle. Okay, my son would show up with bad grades, and I told him he needed to do better as this world is tough because it is, and he hadn't truly experienced it yet. I would tell him, focus on his studies rather than goof off with his friends on weekends and during the summer. I would drop him off to coaching for subjects he needed to get stronger on. My parents never had all the money in the world to take us on vacations, and I didn't either, so I wanted to set him up to succeed. Every dollar I would make would be used to keeping a roof over our heads and making sure that we never went hungry. While my son was young, he would often ask why we never went anywhere or would eat out. I told him that it was because if we spent all our money wastefully, we'd be living paycheck to paycheck. I noticed the biggest difference when he went to college. I told him he will have to pay for his things or take out loans because that is how everyone goes about college in the US. While he was in college, I noticed how independent he was. There were very few things he needed help with. Me and my wife felt like we had succeeded in raising our son. After college, he came back, and I started noticing a huge difference in his behavior towards me. He talks to his mom the same way, but he became very cold and resentful towards me. There would be times where he would call me out on my mistakes, and I thought they were uncalled for. I told him recently I wasn't feeling well, and he completely dismissed and told me I needed to stop complaining. Him disregarding my health was the first time I thought that I did not succeed because the relationship between me and him is broken. He cares for his mom the same way he did back then, but not for me. I told him how I felt, and even then, he said he could care less about our relationship and he has more important things to handle regarding work and his future. I feel awful because he said, I don't have to care to care because I don't really see you as a father. You should be used to this. At this point, I don't know what to say because he's finally doing well in life, but I don't matter to him anymore. This man solely made himself um, a paycheck. He didn't build a relationship with his son. All he did was provide the basics. And then when the son went off to college, he was independent for a reason and he was able to live the life he wanted to. His dad didn't offer him any actual love or support or just any fun. Why would a person come back to that? There was no caring growing up. And now this man is obviously going to end up in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa house because why would his son take care of him? He's sick unless he just conks out early. Just because the older generation or his parents' generation did something doesn't mean that he had to replicate that. That was not a good way of being, and those people were always in survival mode. And his son obviously wanted to live as a child, but dad was always pushing him to be an adult early on, and that sticks to a person. So he has created this relationship and he's reaping the benefits or the consequences of that, and how he acted towards his son. He was not caring towards his son, and now his son is uncaring towards him. So Hate Sponge 66 says, why do I feel like you were much more cruel towards your son than your post implies? Exactly. I feel like he is leaving so much out. Mythos says, because there's yet to be a person on this particular subreddit who actually tells the truth with how much they've abused their child. They want to look like victims because that's how they see themselves. OP seems like he's starting to wake up, which is a good thing, but it's going to take a long time before he stops calling himself a victim, basically. And he might not even, it doesn't matter if he stops calling himself a victim. He went 2 decades, more than 2 decades, with being an authoritarian figure, and he didn't know that he was wrong. His son, I don't think that this is redeemable. This person says, there's that good essay, The Missing Reasons, that basically goes over the mental gymnastics and gaslighting abusive parents go through when going about their reasons their children no longer talk to them. OP should probably give it a read. So, The Missing Reasons. That sounds like an essay that we should probably look up. This person says, yeah, him saying he should focus on his studies rather than goof off with his friends on the weekends and in the summer says a hell of a lot more than the OP thought it did. This child was never allowed to have time to hang out with his friends or make real childhood memories without feeling guilt from his dad, making him think it's bad to hang out with his friends. Hell, why was he even studying in summer? I had a 96 average GPA in high school with offers of scholarships, and I hung out with my friends. I went to parties. What the OP should have taught him is balance. This is in no way close to a healthy or balanced relationship. And I can almost guarantee when his son got to college, he went, oh, I can do good in school and still have friends and make memories. And he snapped. I think so too. I think that that's where this man went wrong. This man went wrong, all the way wrong. And a lot of these men in old age are isolated socially because they never built the relationships with their children, and they're reaping those consequences right now. And more men need to see these stories so that they could stop acting like a-holes when their kids are young and like actually do stuff a little bit different. Anyways, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.